Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Regional Council meeting this Thursday, March the 26th. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and I'm going to ask the clerk to conduct a roll call.
Thank you, Acting Chair Foster. Councillor Badaway.
Present.
Councillor Bateman.
Present.
Councillor Campion. Councillor Kiokio.
Present.
Councillor Crater.
Present.
Councillor Diodati. Councillor Ganan. Councillor Grant.
Present.
Councillor Greenwood.
Present.
Councillor Height.
Present.
Councillor Yip.
Present.
Councillor Jordan.
I'm here.
Councillor Junkin.
Here.
Councillor Kaiser.
Present.
Councillor Morocco.
Present.
Councillor Olson.
Present.
Councillor Redicott.
Here.
Councillor Rigby.
Present.
Councillor Seaborn.
Present.
Councillor Secord.
Present.
Councillor Cisco.
Present.
Councillor Sorrento. Councillor Ugolini.
Present.
Councillor Whalen.
Present.
Councillor Witteveen.
Present.
Councillor Zalepa.
I'm here, thank you.
And we have regrets tonight, Chair, from Councillors Easton, Encina, Steele, and Villela.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to call on Councillor Ganan to read the land acknowledgement statement.
Thank you, Chair. Niagara region is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nation, Métis, and Inuit from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The Regional Municipality of Niagara stands with all Indigenous peoples, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ganan. The next is going to be the singing of O Canada. So with that, if you are able, please stand for the national anthem. Our next item is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any items to be added to the agenda this evening? Seeing none, is there any change of order in the agenda this evening? Seeing none, can I get Councillor Badaway to move and Councillor Greenwood to second that we accept the agenda as published? Thank you. Please vote electronically, yes or no. That is carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest this evening? Seeing none, We move into the chair's report, so I am going to say a few things this evening. First off, it's an absolute pleasure to be the acting regional chair for another 4 days. And then I get to hand off to the next letter of the alphabet. So a couple of things. I have a prepared statement I wanted to say this evening. So good evening, council, members of the public and staff. I would like to start by thanking everyone who was able to join us before our scheduled meeting tonight for the unveiling of the official portrait of the late Jim Bradley in our lobby, among all the former Niagara regional chairs. And I was very pleased that former regional chair Zimmerman and former regional chair Burrows were able to make it here this evening. And I just want to say a thank you once again from all of us to Chair Bradley for the many years of service that he gave to the community and to this council. Former Prime Minister Harold Wilson once observed that a week is a long time in politics. That observation is certainly relevant to the circumstances we find ourselves in here in Niagara region. I have 5 days remaining in the role of acting regional chair. Councillor Gannan, as next in line, has agreed that if required, she will assume those responsibilities beginning in April. This evening, council has important work before it. Early in the agenda, we will address the chair's position and formally declare it vacant, as is required under our procedures and actually under provincial, the Municipal Act as well. We've also been advised that the province intends to address the vacancy by appointing a permanent chair in due course. I received a letter today from the province with that, and that is going to be published tomorrow with the correspondence. In addition, there are several legislative and governance matters before council tonight, including issues that will arise when the Committee of the Whole minutes from last month are considered. And on that note, I want to take the opportunity to thank former Chair Bob Gale for his lifelong commitment to Niagara. Certainly, he opened the door to discussions that perhaps have been long overdue here in the region. At the outset, I want to emphasize the importance of how we conduct ourselves this evening. Council's discussions must remain respectful, constructive, and focused on the work before us. The residents of Niagara elected this council to deliberate carefully, make decisions responsibly, and continue advancing the work of the region. This evening provides an opportunity for us to demonstrate the commitment through the manner in which we deliberate and the discussions we make. So I'm looking forward to us working through this agenda this evening. I, as acting regional chair, had an opportunity to attend a few events in the past few days, or the past week. The most funnest, is that proper language? The most funnest was the top hat ceremony in Port Colborne. I was down there this past Sunday. And the next funnest was in St. Catharines for the top hat with Mayor Cisco, who made fun of me. So I also was over at the State of the City for Mayor Cisco yesterday. That was an extremely good event as well. I wasn't there on behalf of council, but I was also at the Jillian's Place breakfast yesterday morning at the same venue, Club Roma. And my wife has been a longtime supporter of that organization, so very happy to have been there as well. And those are my notes for this evening. There are no delegations this evening, and with that, I'm going to move into the adoption of the minutes from the council of Thursday, February the 26th, 2026. So, Councillor Grant, can I get you to move the adoption of those minutes? Yeah, and Councillor Zeppa, would you please second that? Thank you. Are there any discussions on the minutes at all? If not, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. We have two items on the agenda as far as correspondence this evening. Councillor Yip, can I get you to move that we accept these two pieces of correspondence? Councillor Olson, can I get you to second that, please? Yes, Chair. Thank you. Are there any questions to either of these pieces of correspondence? Seeing none, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. So items for consideration this evening, item 10.1, declaration of vacant regional chair seat. Councillor Olson, can you move the motion CLC 18-2026? Yes, Chair. Thank you. Councillor Rigby, would you second that, please? Thank you. Any questions on this motion? Seeing none, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. Item 10.2, PhD 3-2026, Homelessness and Addiction Recovery Treatment HART Hub, approval for interim funding and extension of agreement. Councillor Morocco, can I get you to move this motion here?
Yes, I will.
And Councillor Kiokio, would you second it, please?
So I'll second it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments at this point? Councillor Redekop.
Thank you, Chair. What's the level of comfort by staff that we will eventually be reimbursed for this funding?
Through you, Chair, very, very high. I'm not going to say 100%, but this is a program that the province has really indicated all in for. It's just the timing, which is pretty typical with the province with the funding.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other on the list, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. Let's move into our committee reports. The first one this evening is the Committee of the Whole minutes from Thursday, February the 26th. Councillor Seaborn, can I get you to move that we put this report onto the table? Yes. Thank you. Councillor Yip, would you second that, please? Thank you. Councillor Redekop, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move an amendment with respect to this. There have been some changes since this was dealt with in February. The first is that the regional chair of the time is no longer the regional chair. So it seems to me that the second paragraph of the resolution, which placed a restriction on his activity in this matter, should be deleted, particularly if this is going to be going to the province. He's no longer the chair. The second item that I'd like to do is try to put some more meat on the bones of this initial of this resolution. And the first paragraph does provide for some basic action that this council agreed at that time to take and would agree to take if we were to pass this evening. But I would like to amend this by adding that the Chief Administrative Officer is directed to A, meet with the local area municipality chief administrative officers as soon as possible. I understand that the clerk can put this up. Meet with the local area municipality chief administrative officers as soon as possible regarding next steps for the governance and services review, including the potential for hiring outside assistance, and report back to council no later than the next regular council meeting. So there's an initial time frame on that. Be established with the local area municipality CAOs the scope of work to be undertaken in connection with the governance and services review. And to some extent, there's some broad understanding of what that might be. But I believe that the CAO should be providing us with some advice with respect to that. And C, cooperate fully with the local area municipality CAOs, and share regional data as may be requested by them and anyone engaged to assist in the governance and services review. And then the final amendment, Chair, would be to add that if this resolution is passed, aside from it being forwarded to the Premier and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, that it also go to the local area municipalities. I have a seconder for this, and that is Councillor Height.
Great, thank you very much.
Should you not send it to the MPP?
So we have an amendment to this motion that's on the floor at this point in time. So, Councillor Bateman, you're next.
Sorry, I don't have a great voice tonight. Thank you, through you, Chair. I appreciate this and the changes in the motion that was thoughtfully brought forward at the last meeting. You know, as a regional councillor, I don't know if there's anybody here that can provide me with any insight. This feels very chaotic to me still. Still, I get questions about amalgamation. I get questions about the reduction of council. Still, I have not been, and I'm sure several colleagues at the table too, have not been included on any discussions around it and the possibility of amalgamation, the possibility of, reducing the number of seats here, the possibility of this council being 12 mayors, some with votes of 3 people. I find that all very concerning. So can we just get a little information on that? Because this all happened without the knowledge of council. And I'm very concerned about it as a councillor.
Through you, Chair, I'll give it a shot. What we have before us right now is a motion from Councillor Redekop, which I think is pretty precise in its direction. I believe, I could be corrected, the councillor's referencing previous correspondence, which was from Chair Gale to the province, and I can't really speak to who was or wasn't included in those discussions.
That's respectfully, that's a non-answer. I think that since he has been gone, there perhaps could have been information shared with council so we can share it with our constituents. Like literally nothing. We still haven't seen formally a resignation from the chair. We just heard from the CAO that he had resigned. So I find this, did you send?
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon? I don't want to misspeak.
No, the resignation of Chair Gale was circulated, so
To all members of council?
I believe so, yes.
I don't remember seeing it. I do remember seeing it from constituents. There are talks about the possibility of water privatization that's part of this amalgamation. And I think that technically because this council started these conversations, we deserve to let the public know where we stand and communicate fully with them. And I appreciate this, but I wonder if it still involves members of this council, because I don't see that in this motion. And that could go to Councillor Redekop if he is willing to, happy to have his input.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. This doesn't speak to amalgamations. It doesn't speak to the reduction of councils anywhere. We don't know what the chief advisors to each council is the chief administrative officer. Mm-hmm. So we have one here and each municipality has one. I think we need some advice from them as to what the scope should be, and then we can determine whether or not that scope is acceptable, whether it should be broadened, whether it should be lessened. My view is that I'm not really interested in telling municipalities how big their councils should be. To me, that's not my role. Others may disagree with that. In terms of governance, we had talked before about a services review during the budget meeting. This would be included in that. So what should we be looking at? How would we go about doing that? What are reasonable timelines for us to deal with these issues? We know that this is of some importance at the province, and I think we need to take some active steps in order to move forward, at least in the direction that they want us to go. But until such time as we've got something from the CAOs after they've met and discussed this, I don't know that there's much for us to go to the public about, because I personally have not formulated a plan going forward. I know what the broader strokes might look like, but I haven't made a determination on that, and none of us have. So I think we need to get some advice from our chief advisors as to what we should be looking at, and then we can determine whether or not that is the scope that we're interested in, and if not, what modifications we would make, whether the timelines they might propose are satisfactory or not, and if not, what kind of changes we make. So that's really what's behind this, just trying to put some flesh on the bones of what we had previously agreed to do, so that at least there's something that our CAOs can work on.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I just, perhaps I'm misinterpreting, but the next steps of governance review, I thought that is what we were speaking about when I was specific to those items. I appreciate the motion. I appreciated the first motion. Nothing further, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bateman. Councillor Cisco.
Thank you, Chair. And this may perhaps be a rather technical question, and I'm assuming it would be for the clerk. So we're looking at changing the motion that would be in the minutes. There was a vote, though, that was predicated on the original motion, and I know my final vote was predicated on the clause that we're now removing. So how would we be altering the rest of the minutes to reflect that people's opinions may change, because this is a very different motion from what was originally put on the floor?
Through the chair, so council was acting as committee of the whole, and this is back before council for consideration and ratification. So just as council does with any other standing committee, they have the ability to amend the motion prior to it being ratified, which is tonight.
I realize that. I guess my question is, the final vote then that is listed in the minutes would be on a separate motion from what we would be amending before ratifying. So how is that reflected that that vote really has, the vote that's listed has no bearing on the motion that we are about to amend?
Right, so
No, I realize that.
the
but-
minutes don't change through you, Chair. The minutes don't change. They
Okay.
reflect what happened at that meeting, and whatever the vote is on this.
I just wanted clarity around that point, that the minutes remain the same and simply the motion that's being passed through for clarity.
That is correct.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Cisco. Councillor Yip.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, just very briefly. Given the changes that have happened in the last few weeks, I think this is an excellent amendment to get the work started on a governance review. Since seconding the original motion from Councillor Redekop, I have fielded a number of questions about what a governance review will look like and when it will begin. Again, many people in Niagara agree that governance reform needs to take place, and this amendment is the initiation of that work, in my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Yip. Councillor Seaborn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm actually going to speak to Haley's comment and to Councillor Redekop. I like what you've done here, but what I'm going to mention that I think Haley was trying to say is that throughout this whole thing, the mayors have been consulted, and now you speak of consulting with the CAOs, but at no time has regional councillors been consulted. And I think that might have been the point that she was trying to bring forward. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chair, can I just clarify that?
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Redekop.
So not all the mayors are familiar with this. So it's not as if, I mean, this is a work in progress, and this is something that we're trying to put forward. I understand how the directly elected regional councillors feel. I get that. I appreciate that. But there's been very little consultation with, as an example, my council, simply because we haven't really done anything except try to move a process to a point where there's something that we can work on. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anything else, Councillor Seaborn? Okay, thank you. Councillor Olson.
So if the direction and determination of this motion is to find more opportunities to combine services in a manner that improves productivity, if that can be the result, I think this exercise has some meaning. But on the other hand, I see the continuation here in this of the monopolization of power in the hands of unelected, redundant bureaucracy with only imaginary improvements in costs. So I'll be voting against it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Olson. Councillor Zalepa.
Thank you. So I just want to add my support to the amendment. I think this is a good opportunity to bring a fulsome set of information to this table so then we can have that conversation. I think that's where we're all trying to get to. In the town of Niagara Lake, we actually did our own, I agree with Mayor Redekop, we focus on our own domain, so to speak, right? So we've done that in our community. We're not here to tell the region of Niagara what it should look like, but I want to participate in that with the room. So looking forward to that and appreciate the opportunity to say that. And I look forward to hearing some more from our colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Zalepa. Councillor Whalen.
Yeah, just a little bit further on what Councillor Bateman has to say about us having a say as a regional councillor. On CHCH News last night, the Premier made mention, he's in discussion with the regional councillors. I don't think there's any one of them, 19 of us, that have ever spoken to anybody at the province, so a little misinformed there, so it's kind of disheartening to tell the truth. And just one thing further, through your, Mr. Chair, to Councillor Redekop, any timelines is getting back to us? May 1st is getting short, so do we have any timelines, what you'd appreciate to get a reply?
Well, that's why I'm suggesting that the CAOs deal with it, because they can give us some realistic direction in terms of timing. And, if that's why this motion was put on, the amendment was put on the floor.
So I'm going to turn that to the CAO and find out from him.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, in terms of this motion and reporting back to council, it clearly says the next council meeting. I can already tell you that there is a meeting scheduled on April 8th of the CAOs for this particular topic. It was called a couple of weeks ago. In terms of timing of any steps beyond that, we can't say right now.
Oh, April 8th would be great, a little bit sooner than later, so we get this going, because like I say, May 1st, the period's getting pretty quick. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Whalen. Councillor Secord.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Chair. I just have a question of staff. Maybe they can answer this. First of all, I'm in support of this fully. But going in another direction, and with the May 1st deadline for legislation coming up, if we were to discuss having a referendum on the next ballot, if there is to be another election for regional council, where we could ask, does the public, do they want amalgamation? Or, I'm not sure that would be the question, but how do we go about doing that, and how much time do we have to do that?
I'm going to turn it to the clerk, only because there's some pretty strict or laid out legislation on this that I think she can explain to us.
Through you, Chair. So just on the fly, the time has passed that we could put a question on the ballot for this election, is my understanding. And it would have to be something that would be considered. There's specific legislation around that the question has to be a yes, no. We'd have to talk to the area municipalities about that. Yeah, it's too late for this election.
So basically,
Oh, we're out of time.
yeah, so basically we're out of time for that, Councillor Secord.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, Councillor Secord? You're good. You're good.
No, I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that.
Yep. Councillor Junkin, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I will support this amendment, I think, on two fronts. Number one, it starts us on the long overdue discussion of governance, and at the same time, the second, and it's almost, I figure it's almost as important, it brings us council back together, working as a team, and let's face these problems as a council, and let's come up with some solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Junkin. Councillor Badaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will be supporting this motion because I think it's imperative that this process be grounded in both collaboration and rigorous due diligence. Councillor Junkin just mentioned the key part to all of this, and that's working together. Working together across the region and with its member municipalities, the region, member municipalities, the councils, and of course the general public, which is essential to ensure that decisions that are made are well informed, transparent, and ultimately deliver on the outcomes expected by our taxpayers and our ratepayers. Taxpayers, property taxes, and our ratepayers specifically for water and wastewater. Anything less risks being reduced to opinion rather than evidence-based decision-making. To support this, I expect, Mr. Chairman, that all necessary resources and supports required to gather, validate, and analyze information will be made readily available by both the region as well as member municipalities to get to the outcomes that we're expecting. This will be critical to upholding the fiduciary responsibilities of all public officials, not only in this chamber and this building, but all the chambers and all the buildings across the region, and ensuring that decisions are defensible, accountable, as well as in the public interest. Furthermore, Mr. Chairman, it will be essential to undertake a comprehensive service and operational review at the regional level, so that therefore municipalities can extend from that with respect to who does what. This review, once again, must align with and complement the due diligence efforts already underway within Niagara's member municipalities. A clear understanding of roles, responsibilities, and service delivery is in fact required. Specifically, who does what, where there may be duplication, and where opportunities exist for greater efficiency, greater coordination, and greater improvement. Only through this disciplined and collaborative approach can we ensure that governance decisions are well-founded, sustainable, and reflective of the best interests of the communities that we all serve. This is about more than process, Mr. Chairman. It's about public trust. And maintaining that trust requires us to move forward in a way that is transparent, that is disciplined, and firmly rooted in evidence. Other than that, it's simply opinion. So we all look forward to getting down this process and getting away from the noise and the distractions that, as Councillor Bateman alluded to, we've experienced in the last few weeks, months. People expect more out of this group than that, to deal with the things that we should be dealing with, the issues, and of course with this, making sure that it's rooted in a disciplined approach that is evidence-based. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Badaway. Councillor Ugolini.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Councillor Badaway said everything I wanted to say pretty well, but and he probably said it better than I would. But I just want to say that the part I really like is getting all the municipalities working together and pulling in the same direction. But there's one point that I want to clear. At no time did anybody speak about privatizing water, wastewater. And if you look at any correspondence related to that, it always said public. So I take offense to the word privatization because that was never mentioned, and it isn't the intent of any of the correspondence that went out from the 8 mayors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ugolini. Councillor Height.
Yes, not only did I second this motion, I felt that it should go a little further, and I felt that there should be some time frames, like the complete analysis coming back to the council by November of 2028 and implementation taking place prior to November 2030, the next election after the current election that we're going to be going into on May 1st. Any changes in Niagara should only take place with the entire involvement and consultation of the local area municipalities and our constituents. There's no question about that. And on the last part, we should also make sure our MPPs are aware of what we're doing, and they should be included on this list. I don't want this to just go to the Premier and Municipal Affairs Office. I think it's important to let our MPPs know where we stand as well.
Chair,
I think
I
we
would
can
consider that a friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment, yeah. So that will be the MPPs, the local MPPs will be included, so. Thank you, Councillor Height. Councillor Kaiser.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the motion. I'm more than happy and ready to move forward in a positive fashion. The one thing that I think I mentioned at committee that I Not sure if it has to do with this motion, or maybe it's out of this discussion with the CAOs. But I was personally very frustrated by what I perceived as misinformation being shared with the public regarding the tax rates. I spoke with that at committee about the 24% over 4 years, and I'm not trying to get into details in the sense of looking back, but I think the public deserves to know in a public way the actual information about our taxes here at the region for the last 4 years and the percentage of that that's related to policing costs and that is impacted by province. And we had Councillor Seaboyne mention about having that separated so that there's better transparency and understanding. And I just feel in the last, whatever it was, 4-6 weeks, that information, in my opinion, was misrepresented to the public, and I would like that to be set straight for the record, for the public to know, the breakdown of that communication about the taxation over the last 4 years. So if that's a part of this release or whatever it is, a way, if that's a friendly amendment, but I just would like the facts to be sort of out to the public on that front.
Thank you, Councillor Kaiser. Councillor Kyokyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I will also be supporting this motion, or this amendment, sorry. So at its core, it is about doing our due diligence for the residents of Niagara. It's about taking responsible, measured approach to how we deliver services, how we spend our taxpayers' dollars, and how we ensure our system is working efficiently as it can. What I appreciate about the amendment is that it does not predetermine an outcome. It does not commit us to any kind of amalgamation or anything like that, but it's specific structural change instead of commits us to facts, to a governance review grounded in data, and that's what I like. We've asked for data from day one, and this is going to provide the data that we're looking for. So, in my opinion, this is what I've always been looking for, and I think the people have spoken as well throughout our region, is they want data. They want a financial plan. They want a business plan. And I want to see this provided to this council. So I will definitely be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Point of personal privilege, Chair.
What's your point of, please go ahead.
I made the statement that council had not received the letter of resignation from Chair Gale. I looked through my emails. I don't have it. We
Okay.
do have an email from the CAO saying that he has resigned, but
Okay.
council was not in receipt of that letter of resignation.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Redekop, I will let you speak one more time.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to reference the comments by Councillor Kaiser. That I don't think needs to be part of this, but that is important information that should be communicated. And I know in the many times that I've spoken about this issue, since it was first raised, I've pointed out that the regional tax increase was 6.3%. That included the police increase, which was in itself 4.4%. And that needs to be brought out to the public. And they also need to be warned that next year, the projected police increase year over year for them will be 14.8%. And the year after that, they're projecting 10.8%. So I think it would be helpful if our communications team tried to get some of that information out. And I think that would address Councillor Kaiser's point. Thank you.
Staff are going to take that as direction. It's unfortunate. I had it all over my notes from that meeting, and I wish I had it here. I could have just handed it to Ron. Anyone else have any comments, questions at this point in time? Seeing none, so this is the amendment to the motion, so please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. So now we will deal with the minutes as a whole, and it's been due. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I have been corrected again. So it's like being at home. So we need a motion to accept this motion as it's been amended. So Councillor Zalepa and Councillor Kyokyo moved in second. Any questions or comments? Please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. So now we deal with the minutes? So now we deal with the minutes, now that it's been, the motion has been passed within that, and we do have that already moved and seconded. So unless there's any other questions about those minutes, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. Next on the list is our Public Works Committee meeting from Tuesday, March the 10th. Councillor Witteveen, can I please have you move the motion?
Yes, I would, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Councillor Sorrento, can I get you to second that, please? Yes, thank you. Any questions to these minutes? Seeing none, please vote electronically, yes or no. Okay, here it comes again. That is carried. Public Health and Social Services Committee from Tuesday, March the 10th. Councillor Kyokyo, will you please move the motion?
I'll move it, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Morocco, would you please second it?
I will.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions to these minutes? Seeing none, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. Corporate Services Committee, Wednesday, March the 11th. As I was chairing that, but I can't move it, so Councillor Whalen, would you please move the motion?
So moved, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Campion, would you please second that? Thank you. Any questions to those minutes? Councillor Zalepa, Councillor Redekop, we'll start with you.
Sorry, Gary. Chair, can we deal with confidential item CSD for 2026 separately?
Sorry, you just want to vote on that separately? Okay, thank you. We will do that. Press. Councillor Zalepa.
It's your first day with the microphone, Chair. Thank you. I'd just like to, a little levity, I'd like to lift minute item 5, CSD 9, 2026 and the reason why I lift it is I'd like to refer it back to the staff. And am I allowed to make a referral with commentary, or is it just a referral, or what's the process? Yeah, okay. Thank you, Clerk. Thank you, Chair. Yes.
With direction.
With direction.
So if you are lifting it and
Yep.
you're immediately referring, there's no discussion. So-
Okay. Going to refer it back to staff.
Okay, thank you. You have a seconder, Councillor Zalepa?
I believe I do. Yeah. Got a few of them.
Both of you put your hands
I
up.
got a few, maybe.
Probably Councillor Kaiser should be appropriate for that one. Okay. So this motion has been duly lifted and has been, it is being referred back to staff, correct? So no discussion on that, so please vote electronically, yes or no.
We don't get to see it, Mr. Chair?
That is carried. Should we vote on that one motion separately? No. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to vote on the motion requested by Councillor Redekop next. Same mover and seconder going with that. So with this particular motion, it's on your screen. Just take a moment to remind yourselves of it. And with that, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. Now we will deal with the remainder of the package of minutes from corporate services that's been duly moved and seconded. Any other questions to the minutes? Seeing none, please vote electronically, yes or no. And that is carried. Next on our list this evening is the Planning and Economic Development Committee minutes of Wednesday, March the 11th. Councillor Seaborn, will you please move the motion to accept these minutes? Thank you. Councillor Kaiser, would you please second that? Thank you. Any discussion on these minutes? Lots of good information from that Planning and Development meeting. So, please vote electronically, yes or no. That is carried. Next is our Audit Committee meeting from Monday, March the 23rd. Councillor Whalen, would you please move the motion?
So moved, Chair.
Councillor Rigby, would you second the motion, please? Thank you. Any questions or any comments to this, other than the fact that it was an incredibly short meeting? So, please vote electronically, yes or no. Okay, thank you. That is carried. Next on the list here is the Chief Administrative Officer's reports. The Council Information Requests, re-item number 5, a motion related to hiring freeze on non-essential positions. Councillor Gannan, can I get you to move this report? Thank you. Councillor Redekop, would you second it, please? Thank you. Are there any questions to this report? Seeing none, please vote electronically, yes or no. That is carried. Next is motions. There are no motions that have been brought forward at this point. Next, notices of motion. Does anybody have any notices of motion they wish to bring? Closed session. Does anybody wish to, oh, we don't have to go into closed session, do we? They've already been approved with the minutes. So, with that, do we have any business arising? Absolutely not. Bylaws. Councillor Junkin, will you move the bylaws this evening? Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Do you have a question? Oh. Other business in just a little bit, Councillor Rigby. Okay. So let us get through the bylaws, and then you have other business. Okay. Yeah, bylaws first. Okay. Councillor Junkin, can you move that, please? thank you. There we go.
Chair?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Councillor Whalen, I don't know if he had, I wanted to speak to one of the bylaws.
One of the bylaws?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So let's get the mover and seconder to get it on, and then we'll separate off. So mover, Councillor Junkin, seconded. Councillor Greenwood, did you second the bylaws? Okay. Does anyone want to speak about anyone in particular and vote on it separately? So is that what you want to do, Councillor Bateman?
I am hoping that we can, I am hoping that we can refer bylaw 17.5. It's fine if it's passed here tonight, but back to the procedural bylaw committee. I'm not sure if that's, I want to talk about the position of chair and how it's being managed, including, because I know that you have made a lot of effort this month specifically, and you've taken on a lot of extra responsibility, which I know you've enjoyed as part of the privilege of being chair. But there is no additional pay for you or anybody that would go into that position for any number of months until a chair is either elected or appointed. And I wanted to make sure that council had an opportunity to talk about that and debate that and possibly bring that back to council for some sort of recommendation.
Can I make a recommendation? Actually, you and I have talked about this earlier, Councillor Bateman, so I'm just wondering, would that be something that definitely should be going to our procedural committee and making recommendations out of that?
Isn't that, I feel like that's what I asked, sorry
Yeah.
if I didn't, but
Okay,
that was my intent.
okay. So just one moment.
Is that not what I just said? It is. Okay, I don't understand. No, you did.
So the bylaw as this currently exists should be passed this evening. But if you wish, we'll take it as direction to go to the procedural bylaw committee. You're chair, so please work with the clerk and we can organize a procedural bylaw committee meeting relatively quickly, I would think, if you want to bring that forward. And I know there's some other housekeeping items for procedural bylaw as well that I'm sure we would like to clean up before the end of this term. So
Thank you, Chair.
does
I'm
that work?
happy with passing it tonight. Yep.
Great, thank you. Anyone else with any of the bylaws? Seeing none, please vote electronically, yes or no. Yeah, it's open. And that is carried. You keep voting against everything, Mayor Junkin.
I'm voting yes, and it's not showing up. Madam Clerk, all the no's that I had, please change them to yes.
Okay. New business. Councillor Rigby, you said you had a piece of new business. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for some time, I've been asked for members of certainly St. Catharines community about what's happening with our new building that's being built on Ontario Street, that we're supposed to be able to have a new facility that is looking after our elderly, etc. And it doesn't seem to be moving along very well. Can we just get a quick sort of information about what's happening, because it's been gone and looking like it's not got doors on and everything else that is quite surprising.
Turn that to the CAO.
Thank you, through you, Chair. There was actually a confidential update memo in the corporate services meeting just passed tonight.
We just passed it.
Yeah.
It's in the, calling up.
Is that it? Yep.
Okay? We can come back to you, Councillor Rigby, if you have any additional questions out of that can be open discussion. Councillor Bateman, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I did mention this earlier, and I appreciate Mayor Ugolini taking offense because I want to be really, really clear. We've had a lot of worry from the public about the possibility of water privatization. I appreciate Mayor Ugolini's clarifying comments about any mention of public water in the correspondence being gone out that the public has seen. And I'm wondering if we could have a report from our staff talking about the legal interpretation of the legislation, because as I understand it, the province has passed legislation saying that water can be made private. I'm not sure about that. I don't read the legislation to understand it that way. What it means for municipalities across Niagara, should that come to us, and any correspondence between the Niagara region and the province regarding privatization. Is that something that we can have?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I don't believe a report is necessary. The province has passed legislation, in fact, directed in the region of Peel to look at a municipal service corporation. None of the legislation or documentation correspondence that have happened locally within Niagara have had any mention of privatization, as Councillor Ugolini has said.
Okay, so just to be clear, the legislation doesn't say that our water in Niagara or anywhere in the province really can be privatized.
It does not.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Bateman. Councillor Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With a little bit further to Councillor Redikoff's request to the CEO and the meeting of the lower lands CAOs, if by chance we get things together earlier, can we call a meeting with the importance a little bit earlier, if by chance we get together earlier?
I think that's a terrific idea, and I think Councillor Gannan will be more than happy to do that. So.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Sorrento.
Just wanting. Go with the mics. Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the Commissioner Koenig and Director Paulo Varias. I had a tour of Lynn Haven this past week, and I have to tell you, it's a state-of-the-art building. It's far from being completed. I guess in terms of a contractual completion, it's about 95% complete, 96%, but it's going to be an amazing facility. I've seen it. I believe all of the rooms are private, and it's the same number of rooms, and it's state-of-the-art. And so I would encourage my colleagues to take a tour, and just a shout out to the staff. And I forgot the manager's name, Commissioner, maybe you know, but he was amazing, and it's really quite a facility. So just an acknowledgement to our staff and the work that they're doing, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sorrento, and I think we all echo that. Great work being done in that area. That brings us to the end. So I'm going to adjourn. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor Rigby.
Thank you. Just this article that was put in this week is confidential, so I cannot tell anybody what is going on. And so as I read this, it's not terrible. It's just giving the background, but it is confidential, so I cannot hand it in to anybody. So if we're giving out tours, maybe people would like to know that.
So do you want to just?
Thank you, Chair, through you. So what I can do is follow up, won't be tomorrow, but through Friday correspondence with a brief update that certainly can be shared publicly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're done. Thank you for allowing me to be your acting regional chair this month, and good luck next month, Cheryl. Have a good one.